So hi everyone, welcome to Vishwa Bloom. So we are looking at English class 8 Honeydew lesson 1, the best Christmas present in the world. So let's look at the lesson. So before that, this is the lesson, first page. So here we have, here before you read it says that there are some important dates and periods of time in history that we are so important and we know and we remember them. We never forget, like our Independence Day, we never forget that easily. So this story also we have some one such date and event, that is the war between British and German in 1914. So we have to guess that war. That is your homework. See, this is your homework. First homework is that, and secondly, let's come to the lesson. So I spotted a junk shop in Brightport, a low roll top desk. The man wanted. This man said that it is in early 19th century and oak. So I had wanted one, but they were far too expensive. This one was in bad condition. The roll top in several pieces. One leg was clumsily mended. Scotch marks all down one side. It was going for little money. I thought I could restore it. It would be a risk, a challenge, but I had to have it. I paid the man and brought it to my workroom at the back of the garage, and I began to work on Christmas Eve. So first I found it in the junk spot. So first, this is a rough diagram of mind map or like that kind of thing. Okay, so he found a junk shop in Brightport. So this is a junk shop and he's a shopkeeper. So here I spotted, so he shows me that I am saying the story like that means he's the narrator. So in this he found one what is that, roll top desk. So it was early 19th century and it was fully made of oak. This person told, who is that shopkeeper, told that. So first main thing, when he observed that, what are the observations he wrote, he told that it was bad, it was in several pieces, and one leg was clumsily molded, and it has scorch marks. Okay, and also it was a risk for, he thought that he could restore it, but he also knows that it was a risk and a challenge for him. And also he mentioned that Christmas and Christmas Eve has some difference. Christmas means 25th December. Christmas Eve means before the 24th December. Okay, so that is what is there in the first paragraph. Okay, I removed the roll top completely and pulled out the drawers. So whatever the drawers and all are there, no, he opened it perfectly, completely he opened it. But the last drawer was there, no, that was not opening. With his normally, gently if he pulled, it was not opening. And also he got to know that it looked like it was water damage to him, but it was both water and also fire. Clearly told the desk. That means he found that this desk was fully damaged with water and fire, scorch marks. That is only called as scorch marks. Okay, that's what I have written, so easily you can understand the first paragraph in this. Okay, so next what happened was, the last drawer, when he opened, it was very stuck fast. It was stuck fast. That means it was very tight. I tried all that I could see, ease it out gently, but he tried to open it gently only, but he couldn't open. So he opened with his fist, and a drawer flew to reveal a shadow. Fist means hand in punch position, like how you keep there. I think you all know what is punch position in karate. Some people are learning maybe. So that is fist, F-I-S-T, not fish, fist. Clear? So he opened and he found one shadow. It was written in the story. That means, one second, I will just insert one more slide. Okay, so that means what it meant was, when he opened the last desk of the drawer, so it was a drawer, last desk, when he tightly it was there, okay, tight it was there. So when he did hard work for opening that, finally he opened that. When he found that, he found something like a shadow, they told. And after that, let's continue reading the content now. So yes, so where, yes, a shallow space underneath. I stuck it sharply with side of my fist and drawer flew up to a really shallow space underneath a secret drawer. There was something in there. I reached in and took out a small black tin box, sellotaped on top. It was written in a lined note paper and written in a shaky handwriting, that is Jim's last letter received 25th January 2000, sorry, January 25th 1915, to be buried with me when time comes. I knew as I did I knew I knew as I did it that it was wrong of me to open the box, but curiosity got better of sculpts. I It usually does. So what he explained in this, he told was, he found one black tin box in the desk, last desk. Okay, what it is, black color tin box. Oh, it's T, okay, everyone. It's I went there and it became fin box only. 1 second, I will just rub this tin only and I will rewrite it for you. He found a tin box there. Black color it is, but here on the blackboard itself, if I put black color, it is not so good. I felt this, so I did just put it white only, or else I'll just put it other color so that you could just understand it. Suppose it is a black tin box. Okay, so he opened one. Now let's cut what was there in that box. So in that, upon that, 1 second, I'll just put pink color and I will explain for that. Here that tin box was there, no, it is not tin paper, sorry, it is not tin paper, it is tin box, it's mistake, black tin box. Now in this black tin box, what was written is on a sheet of this thing. First notepad paper, or small one, and I don't know how I did it very big for actually. So on that, lined note paper, lined means having lines note paper, he wrote in a shaky handwriting. Anyways, I'm getting normally only shaky handwriting here, so no need to write specifically again. Jim's last letter, it was written here, received January 25, 1915, to be buried with me when time comes. Okay, so this narrator, he was there, no, narrator, it is N I am writing inside the circle. Narrator, because of his curiosity, what happened, he opened, actually it's not that good to open others letters, okay, we should not read that also, but his curiosity actually made him to read that. Now looking at the lesson once. Yeah, inside the box there was an envelope and address was written as, the address read, Mrs. Jim Macpherson, 12 Copper Beeches, Bridport, Dorset. I took out the letter and unfolded it. It was written in pencil and dated at top 26 December 1940. So now, so he has so much of curiosity, you know that. So what happened? He opened this letter. So 1 second, I will just change the color. If I keep changing, you will be understanding better, I feel. So letter, first there was an envelope inside, okay, this is an envelope. Inside this it is there, okay. Then after that again, what is there, 1 second, upon inside that envelope again we had a letter which the narrator has unfolded, okay. So in that letter, first they had the address of Connie Macpherson. Address, what was the address? Mrs. Jim Macpherson, 12 Copper Beaches, Brightport, Dorset. So it was also dated on the top, like what date was given? December 26th. December, here date was written. I am writing date only, I am not writing the original date. Okay, date was written there. Sorry, that line went out of that. Okay, so what was the address? That was, I told you just now, and date is 26 December 1950. Now in the letter what he wrote, we will read that. I cannot write everything like I say here, we will see there only. Dearest Connie, I write you this in a much happier frame of mind, because something wonderful has just happened that I must tell you. So what happened was, something wonderful happened to him that he has to tell you. He has to tell Connie immediately. He wanted to tell. He wrote it on 26th, but it happened on 25th. How I can say that I am surety? I read the lesson right before only, that's fine. I'll say you, don't worry. I'll say. Here only we have that. I can prove you that. Say you about it once. We were all standing on our trenches yesterday morning. Christmas morning. So, first what happened? This actually everything we'll read once, then I will just dawdle and explain there. Christmas morning. It was crisp and quite all about as beautiful as a morning I have ever seen, as cold and frosty as a Christmas morning should be. I should like to be able to tell you that we began it, but the truth I am ashamed to say is that Fritz began it. First, someone saw a white flag waving from the trenches opposite. Then they were calling out to us across no man's land, "Happy Christmas, Tommy! Happy Christmas!" When we had got over the surprise, some of us shouted back, "Same to you, Fritz, same to you." I thought that would be that. We all did. But then suddenly, one of them was up in a grey coat and waving the white flag, "Don't shoot, lads," someone shouted. And no one did. Then there was another Fritz up on the parapet, and another. "Keep your heads down," I told the man. It's a trick, but it wasn't. So this part first I will explain. What was there? I read everything, no? So now I'll explain. First, Jim Macpherson. He is a Mr. Jim Macpherson, Mrs. Jim Macpherson. What did you observe there? They both are wife and husband. Okay. Mr. Jim Macpherson, Mrs. Jim Macpherson. So in other countries like America, England and all, there what they call husband name only will be put Mrs. and the lady's name will be like that, wife name. Mrs. Jim Macpherson, Mr. Jim Macpherson, like that. But her original name is Connie. Connie. So this Jim, they were Britishers, okay? They were what? Britishers. Wait, 1 second. They were Britishers. That means British soldiers they were. So Jim was the captain actually, captain of the soldiers. Okay, so Jim Macpherson was the captain. They were so just now I read one word called Tommy. I think you would have heard it, or no, you would never have heard it. You would have heard it as Tom and Jerry or whatever it is, but it is not what you think. It is they are the British soldiers. They are called as Tommy word is used for British soldier. 1 second, I'll run this yellow line. Okay, this Tommy word. Sorry. Actually, I have gone outside. Sorry, again. Okay. So this Tommy word means that they are called as British soldiers. Tommy word is used for British soldiers, but okay. And Fritz, one more word was there. Fritz, Fritz. Okay, so that word is for German captain. Sorry, German soldiers. For them, it is Fritz. Okay, so Jim was British captain, and this is for German. I will write it here only. Okay, German, that is AN. Okay, it's looking like EN only. Okay, so what happened was these Fritz, actually they started this one. They first, someone from Tommy's has seen that Fritz were waving a white flag. Okay, white flag means peace, we know that. Okay, I think you know that. I know that before only. Okay, I just interrupted. Okay, they waved the white flag and these people said that, what they said, happy Christmas. Okay, happy Christmas. Okay, so happy Christmas, Tommy, they said. What these Tommy's replied, they told, same to you, same to you. My handwriting is actually coming so dirtily here. Fritz. Okay, so happy shortcut I have written, you should never write that. Okay, happy Christmas, Tommy. Okay, fine. Now they said and they replied to them. Okay, so then what happened? So they thought, okay, it's just wishing, so let's also wish and leave. But then what happened? They again were waving the white flag. They said, don't shoot. Okay, someone shouted. And other one also said, keep your heads down. I told them. So this Jim actually is a leader, right? Captain, right? He told to them it was a trick. So he told, one second. Yeah, this is better. So it is a trick, he told. Who told? Jim McPherson. But what happened, to his surprise, it wasn't a trick. No, it was not a trick. Okay, so then till there we completed. Let's continue now. So one of the Germans was waving a bottle above his head. It's a Christmas day, Tommy. We have snacks, we have sausage, we met you, yes. By this time there were dozens of them walking towards us across no man's land, and not a rifle between them. Little Private Morris was first up. Come on, boys, what were we waiting for? And then there were no one stopping them. I was the officer. I should have stopped them. And then, I suppose, but the truth is that it never even occurred to me I should. All along their line and us, I could see men walking slowly towards one another, grey coats, khaki coats meeting in middle. And I was one of them. I was part of this. In the middle of this war, we were making peace. So here, what was it is, here what happened? A German Fritz. They were, one person was there. It was having, he was keeping one bottle, that drink bottle upon his head. Yeah, pure alcohol or something, I don't know. It was a bottle they have given. Upon his head he put, Fritz. Okay, he's belonging to Fritz. Okay, let me highlight Fritz with yellow color, and whoever is Tommy, I'll highlight with green color. Okay, Fritz means yellow face. I will do it. Circle will be yellow. Okay, understood. So I think it's a better way, you can understand easily. So he showed this, and they also had snaps and sausages also. Who has? Fritz has. So yellow highlighting. Yeah, I'm doing yellow highlighting means it is Fritz. So next, what happened? This so when they show that, obviously these people will be going right. So by that time only, so most of the Tommies, they went to no man's land. All the Tommies, they were there in all went to no man's land. So as I told, green I will mark. 1 second, if you wait, I will just mark it. So these also came to no man's land. Who? Fritz, with bottles, snacks and all that they came. So many people are there, I can't draw all them, right? So I am doing like this. Now who are snaps and all, I will just say. Who this is all, these are all this is of Fritz. And now as I told, I will make green for it. I will make it. These are all Tommies. Okay, this is Tommies. So this full area is theirs only. Okay, sorry, it has gone actually outside much it went, no? So I'm just erasing it. So this is full British place, that's why I'm marking green fully. Green means British. Okay, remember, I'm just making this small note. And will not keep yellow, because yellow so many places we did, right? So let me put orange. Okay, orange for Fritz. So it's okay, not an issue. So Fritz were here with orange I'm making. This is all Fritz area. Okay, Fritz and Tom is here. Okay, I think here it has become too much. So let me just I'll pause it and make it for you. So I now orange is Fritz, and yellow is who? Sorry, green is this people, British people. Okay, so I am telling you very clearly, don't forget. I am making this because it will be easy for you also. Now you can understand easily. Okay, so what happened? They all came together. They were nicely enjoying. Okay, all were enjoying. They were eating all the snacks and all. So they ate. So first, now one more character we have to bring to the story. Who is it? First, here again I'm not going to draw, but only the captain names I will write. Sorry, there is something. Okay, not a problem. Something. So Jim. 1 second, there is something. 1 second. I'm clicking on OK. Wait. Okay, so Jim and one more is 1 second, it's little bit disturbance. And one more word which we forgot to discuss is, here I told you no man's land, no in between. So here will be Britishers, here will be Germans. So this land is there, no in between. This is called as no man's land because no one's land is that. Okay, so it is no man's land. Remember the word. Now here Jim McPherson and Hans Wolf. Who is this new candidate? Hans Wolf will be thinking. It's not anything, but he, you know that he is a Britisher's captain. British captain. Captain CAP One second. This captain. In the same way, he is captain for German, okay. German captain. Okay. So actually they are not they first what happens was this Hans Wolf says himself, when you meet unknown person, what you say first, you say your name, you introduce yourself. The same thing happened with them also. He says Hans Wolf, happy Christmas to you. So Jim McPherson also says same thing, I am Jim McPherson, a very happy Christmas to you. So both wish themselves, and so no one was stopping them, all were enjoying nicely there. Okay, so all of them were very happy. Okay, so he said that Hans Wolf also said that he plays cello, Cello, in where he plays that in ORCHESTRA, orchestra. Okay, he plays cello there. It's a musical instrument. Okay, it's looking like violin. Okay, and then what Jim McPherson tells that he's a school teacher. You can't believe that, right? He's a school teacher. TR says teacher. Okay, where in West England, West England. Okay, I'm just writing ENG in England. Okay, from Dorset place, DORSET. Okay, yeah. So Dorset, he smiled. Who smiled? Hans Wolf. I know this place, I know very well. We shared my remuneration and his excellent sausage, and we talked. So they were sharing their food and they were talking very nicely. And one more thing, Connie, he told that this Hans Wolf actually spoke very nice. Sorry, one second, I forgot. Okay, so what happened? He was explaining, and we talked. Connie, how he talked. He spoke almost perfect English, but it turned out that he had never set foot to Dorset. He had never been to England. He had learned all he knew of England from school and from reading books in English. His favorite writer is Thomas Hardy. His favorite book, Far From the Madding Crowd. So out there in no man's land, we talked about Bathsheba and Gabriel Oak and Sergeant Troy and Dorset. He had a wife and one son born just 6 years ago. As I looked about me, there were hurdles of khaki and grey everywhere. All over no man's land, smoking, laughing, talking, drinking, eating. And Hans Wolf and I shared what was left of a wonderful Christmas cake. Connie, he thought that marzipan was the best he had ever tasted. I agreed. We agreed about everything, and he was my enemy. There was never a Christmas party like it, Connie. So what it explained, now I'll explain you detailedly. So they were English teacher. So Jim McPherson was an English teacher. So he told Dorset, right? When he said Dorset place, he told Hans Wolf told, I know it well, he told, I know this place. So they were eating their food also nicely. and he was expressing to Connie, the who Jim McPherson was telling to Connie that Hans Wolf was speaking very well English. Actually, he was speaking almost perfect English, even though he has never put set foot to Dorset nor to the England. He knows better English from his school, and also he has read more English books. One of his favorite author is Thomas Hardy, THO. You should remember this, it's very important. Sometimes question may come. Thomas Hardy, and his favorite book is from the far from the crowding, madding crowd. Okay, and in their Nomad's Land, they talked about Bathsheba, Gabriel Oak, Sergeant Tetro, and Dorset. That means people, and also about places, and also they talked about them. So he had this Hans Wolf. He had one wife and one son. Okay, a son, yeah, one son also he had, who was just 6 months. That's it, very small, right? Okay, yeah. So all people, this Tommies and Fritz were one plane, were mixed in this no man's land. They were drinking, eating, talking, smoking, everything they did. Okay, so Hans Wolf and Jim McPherson, they shared the cake which you made, that Connie made. Okay, they just eat that, and Hans Wolf believed that marzipan was the best ever he tasted. Marzipan is nothing but it's a sweet a sweet covering on cake made from sugar, eggs, and almonds. Okay, so that was done. Next we will be looking at the next paragraph. Then sometime I don't know then someone, I don't know who, brought one football. Great coats were dumped in piles to make goalposts, and the next thing we knew, it was Tommy against Fritz, out in the middle of no man's land. Hans Wolf and I looked on and cheered, clapping our hands and stamping our feet to keep out the cold as much anything. There was a moment when I noticed our breaths mingling in the air between us. He saw it too and smiled. Jim McPherson, he said after a while. What he told us, I think this is how we should resolve this war. In a football match, no one dies. No one dies in a football match. No children become orphaned. No wives become widows. So what he explained, what he told or what is expressed, I'm going to explain you now. So someone bought a football there. You know, right, what is football? So someone, we don't know who is that also. So they started to put their jackets and all for putting the goals there. Goals, you know, right? In football we have goals. So goals for British, and the match was Tommy's versus Fritz. It's gonna be interesting, you know. And what happened was who is this? Hans Wolf told that Jim McPherson, our war would be resolved like this, like a football match. No one would be dying in the football match. No wives become widows. Widows means having no husband, and no children would become orphan. Orphan means father is not there, means any of one of the parent is not there, means children will be called as orphan. He told. Then what happened? We'll look at. So shortly I'm going to explain everything. I prefer cricket. I told Jim McPherson, because Britishers' national game is cricket and Germans is football. Okay, national game. I told him. Then we Tommies could be sure of winning probably. We laughed that and together we watched the game. Sad to say, Connie, Fritz won 2 goals to 1. But as Hans Wolf generously said, our goal was wider than theirs, so it wasn't quite fair. So what happened? I'm going to explain again. Yeah. So they played that match, okay. So what Jim McPherson told, he told he would prefer cricket because their national game, obviously then they will. But their national game is football, so they played very well and they got 2 goals. So goal score for Fritz is 2 and for Tommy's 1. So finally they won. And also this is for Fritz and this is for Tommy. So Hans Wolf told that Tommy's goal was little bit smaller and ours was little bit wider. So everyone accepted and finally done. Okay. That night, yeah, I think that is what every soldier wants on both sides. Handful said, "Take care, Jim McPherson. I shall never forget this moment nor you." He saluted, he turned to wave just once and became one of his 100 grey coated man drifting backwards. Drifting back towards strangers. That means, so again after that it's done. It's time. So the hands full for they went with all grey coat people and Jim McPherson went with all khaki coat people. Okay, so the day was done. Next, uh, he also said that he would never forget this day or moment, nor him also. That night, back in our adults, we heard singing carol, singing it very beautifully. Okay, so they heard that is Silly Night, Silent Night. So these boys of who Tommy's also, they were singing their rosing chorus on while shepherds watched. They exchanged their carols for a few time and they felt silent. So dearest Connie, by Christmas next year, this war will be nothing but a distant and terrible moment. I know from all that happened today much both arms long for peace. We shall be together again, sure. I'm sure of it. Your loving Jim. So finally a letter is completed. I'll explain the small and shortly because everything I explained there itself, but I'm going to give a small brief. So then what happened? They went there, extend their carols, that means singing styles and all music they'll be having. They exchanged that and finally what happened? He completed his, actually this all happened on 25th December. Which year? 1914. I told you that year, I think. Yes, I told you. 1914 everything happened. This and all. 1914. But he wrote the letter on, this everything happened on 25th. He wrote letter on 26th December. When? To 1914 only. And he told that he would come next year on Christmas. So okay, that means 25th December 1915, correct. So 1915 he said he would come and meet her. Okay, so then now letter is done. He told you all lovingly and all, everything is completed. Now what happened? Now narrator changed. Now till now narrator was Jim McPherson. Now narrator is changed. Narrator is changed to same person, that is the previous one which we had. Who is that? We don't know the name only in this, so we will say him as the author or the narrator. So now he folded the letter and he kept it in the envelope, and again he was kept all night, like, you know, I'm going to explain directly because it's very easy, you will understand. So he was awake only, and one more coincidence is that he repaired that on 24th, and I'll say this later. If I say now, secret will be gone, nothing will be there. So he didn't know what to do. He drove to Bridport. It was just miles away. He asked a boy walking his dog where Copper Beaches was, house number 12. When he turned there, nothing was there. Okay, so One second, yeah, nothing but a burnt out shell of roof gapping. The windows. One second, here we were right. The windows. If anyone knew that whereabouts of a Mrs. Max, oh yes, said the old man in his slippers. He knew her well. A lovely old lady, he told to me, a bit muddle-headed. That means like things have. That means muddle-headed means like some people forget things also, like that. Forget that and do something ulta tulta everything. Okay, so he got to know by the next house number, next house, he got to know that he asked. Okay, and 101 years she was, and she had been in the house when that it got fire. Okay, no one really know how the fire was, but he thought that because of the candles only, because she thinks that electricity is very costly, so that's why she puts candles in her houses, it seems. So she feels that expensive, and the fireman had got just in time a she's in nursing home now, told me, in Burglington House on the Dorset Road, other side of the turn. I think I need not explain this specially. It's easy only if you understand. Burglington is a place in England. So I found Burglington House nursing home easily enough. There were paper chains actually. Okay, hallway there, and lighted Christmas tree, because it was 25th. He read that on 24th. He was awake on night, and now it is 25th. Okay, so there was a lol-sided angel also on the top. I said I was friend to come to visit Mrs. Macpherson to bring Christmas present. So I could see that in the dining also, where people were wearing paper hats and they were singing. So who was able to see that? Narrator was able to see all that. And she walked with me along the corridor. Mrs. Macpherson is not in with others. She told that, who's a nursing lady, she told that she was not with anyone that much. No one comes to visit her also. She has no family, and no one visits her also. She told that she'll be pleased to see you, as you're the first to meet her. So she sat on the wicker chairs, and there were near potted trees near her. And then the nursing lady left him. The old lady sitting in wheelchair, her hands were folded. She had a silver hair, that means like white hair she was having, in a wispy bump, like bun. Okay, she was having gasping out in the garden. Hello, I said. So the narrator said hello to her. She turned and looked up at me vacantly. He told, Happy Christmas, Connie. I went on, I found this, it's yours, blah 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 blah, everything, whatever was there, he explained everything to her. So that tin box he opened, and he found that also. Okay, her eyes never left my face. I opened the tin box and gave it to her. That was the moment her eyes lit up. That time when he was saying all the stories, she was not even listening. He felt that she was not listening only. Now when she opened the tin box and gave, then immediately her eyes lit up. Okay, and she got recognized, and she was very happy. Okay. So all the story now he explained, but he found that she was not listening to him. Next, she said nothing but stroked to the letter tenderly her fingertips. Suddenly she reached out to me, touched my hand. So she is thinking that he is this narrator is Jim Macpherson. We don't know where that narrator Mr. Jim Macpherson, where he went, we don't know only. Okay, but Mrs. Jim was thinking that he is Mr. Jim, but where he is not. So he touched him. She was filled with tears. You told me you would come home by Christmas, dearest. So that is the coincidence here, which I told you. I will not tell now. So 25th December 1915, he told he'll come. But that year we don't know now presently, but but it is 25th December. So in that way it is coincided. Okay, so she told, come closer, sit, Jim dear. See, she was thinking it is Jim. She's thinking now she is very young also. She's not thinking that she's 101, so he should be old. She's not that much. She's muddle headed, so she's not thinking that much. If she is old, obviously he'll also be old, right? She's not thinking that much. She's thinking still she's young star. So they sat and she kissed his cheek. And I read your letter so often, Jim. Every day I wanted to hear your voice in my head. It always make me feel where you are. You were with me. So and now you're back. You can read it to me yourself. Would you do that for me, Jim dear? So she told, I want to listen your voice. Please read this letter for me. Okay, I'd love that so much. Then perhaps we'll have some tea. I've made a nice Christmas cake for marzipan all around. I know you love marzipan. So she bought all the favorites of Jim. Okay. So finally the story is ended and the author is Michael Morpurgo. So hope you all understood the lesson. Do like, share and subscribe to Vishwa Blooms. Thank you.